Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Please subscribe and keep watching more details. Julie Chrisley's request denied, Resentencing day revealed. Once again, Julie Chrisley has had one of her requests shut down by a judge when it comes to her resentencing hearing. Keep reading to find out what's happening with the Chrisley Knows Best star now. Julie Chrisley shut down by federal judge. Julie Chrisley has a resentencing hearing coming up in the upcoming week. This comes after finding out that there was an error in her first sentencing. This week she put in a simple request for this hearing. All she wants is to be able to wear civilian clothing to her hearing. Unfortunately for the Chrisley Knows Best star, her request has been denied by the federal judge, Fox reports. Of course, her lawyers are shocked by this news. There is no good cause for denying the defendant the opportunity to appear in civilian clothing for this hearing, they state. This isn't the first time she has been shut down though for a special request this hearing. Before this she asked if she could attend via Zoom, however she was denied that request as well. Denied for attending via Zoom. Earlier this summer, Savannah Chrisley took to her Instagram story to talk about what was going on with her mom. She revealed that Julie had put in a request to attend her hearing via Zoom, which is apparently very common. For those wondering what's going on right now, the judge denied our motion for my mother to attend her hearing via Zoom. When you are in prison, it is very customary to attend via Zoom, Savannah writes on her Instagram story. She continues, clearly very emotional, sharing that she now has to be worried for her mother's safety as she is transported and shackled for this hearing. A clearly very upset Savannah continues writing, "What does this mean? My mother will be shackled and transported for the next month, plane, bus, etc. with men, some of whom are violent," she explains. "I don't know when I will hear from her next. This punishment does not fit the alleged crime. Hopefully for Julie, her sentencing goes well this week and she is not put in any dangerous situations as she travels to the hearing in person. Only time will tell what the outcome of the whole thing is." The quiet tension in the air was palpable, and the once luxurious life of Julie Chrisley seemed to be fading into the distant memory of yesteryears. Behind the gleaming smiles, designer dresses, and lavish homes portrayed on reality television, the cracks in the facade had finally shown themselves in the cold, unforgiving halls of justice. Julie Chrisley, the once proud matriarch of the Chrisley Knows Best empire, sat somberly in her cell, gazing through the small, iron-barred window. It had been a long road, a road paved with glitz and glamour, but also deceit and scandal. When the truth caught up with her and her husband Todd, the media had a field day, plastering their names across headlines like an unforgiving stamp of shame. She had filed her appeal with a spark of hope, a fragile flame ignited by the belief that perhaps, just perhaps, the legal system would show leniency. She wasn't just a reality TV star, she was a mother, a wife, and in her eyes, a woman wronged by the pressures of a life lived too publicly. The appeal had been her attempt to fight back, to regain control of her narrative, and to rewrite the tragic ending that now seemed inevitable. But the system was not swayed by her past fame or by the wealth that once enveloped her. It saw her actions for what they were: fraud, deceit, and a betrayal of trust. The Chrisleys had been convicted of conspiring to defraud banks and evade taxes, using their reality TV platform as a veneer for their crimes. Julie had hoped that the court would take into consideration her role as a caregiver, that her plea for a reduced sentence would resonate with a judge who might see the human beneath the headlines. As the letter from the court arrived, Julie felt the world slow down. Her heart pounded in her chest as she unfolded the paper with trembling hands. The words, cold and clinical, seemed to pierce through the thin layer of hope she had built around herself. Request denied. It was over. The appeal, the last shred of optimism, had been shut down. Her chest tightened as the reality of the words settled in. There would be no second chance, no early release, no easing of the burden she now carried. The weight of the law had fallen on her shoulders, and there was no escaping it. Todd had already received the news. He had always been the stronger one, the more outspoken and brash. But even he, the once cocky and charismatic patriarch, had fallen silent after hearing the decision. In the quiet of his own cell, miles away, Todd was grappling with his fate, just as Julie was. For all their bravado and swagger, this was a battle they couldn't win. Days passed in a blur. The media, ravenous for any updates on the Chrisleys, splashed the denial across headlines once more. The glossy images of Julie in her heyday, attending red carpet events, smiling in interviews, now stood in stark contrast to the bleak reality she faced. She had gone from being a star in the public eye to a cautionary tale, a stark reminder of how even the brightest lights can burn out. Then came the next blow. A letter announcing the date for her resentencing. Julie had known it was coming, but the confirmation still hit like a punch to the gut. The court had set the date, and soon she would be standing in front of the judge once more, not in a glamorous gown with cameras flashing, but in prison attire, her reality stark and unforgiving. The resentencing day loomed ahead like a dark storm cloud, creeping ever closer, bringing with it the harsh winds of uncertainty. What would the judge decide this time? The original sentence had already been severe, 7 years in federal prison for Julie. Was there room for it to be increased? Was it possible that she could walk out with even more time added to her term, rather than less? Or was there a glimmer of hope that despite the rejection of her appeal, the resentencing might offer some form of mercy? Julie's thoughts swirled, as chaotic as the storm inside her. She had never imagined her life would turn out like this. She had once stood at the top of the world, admired by millions for her seemingly perfect life, only to see it all crumble before her eyes. Now she was facing a future she couldn't control, chained to the decisions of others, stripped of the image she had worked so hard to create. But Julie wasn't entirely without resolve. Despite the crushing blow of her request being denied, and the looming dread of her resentencing day, she still harbored a flicker of defiance. Her thoughts often wandered to her children, Chase, Savannah, Grayson. She had been their rock, their foundation, and now she feared what her absence would do to them. Every moment in that cold cell was a reminder of the price she had paid, not just for herself, but for her family. She had to hold on to something, even if it was the smallest shred of dignity. The courtroom would soon beckon her back, and when she stepped in front of the judge once again, she knew she would face the harsh glare of the public eye, as well as the cold judgment of the law. There was no way to predict what would happen, no script to follow in this episode of her life. It wasn't reality television anymore, it was real life. And as the days ticked down toward her resentencing, Julie Chrisley, once the queen of Southern charm and television fame, could do nothing but wait and hope. Julie Chrisley, once a beloved figure in reality TV, known for her glamorous lifestyle, Southern charm, and bold humor on Chrisley Knows Best, now sat quietly in a cold courtroom. The contrast between her former life of luxury and the current reality couldn't have been starker. The glitzy world of television cameras, grand estates, and red carpets seemed a distant memory, replaced by sterile legal proceedings and the relentless tick of the clock toward a fate she couldn't escape. Her request, one she had clung to with hopeful desperation, had been denied. The motion for leniency, a plea for a reduction in her sentence, was met with the heavy hand of the justice system. A system unmoved by celebrity, status, or past adoration, the court was firm. Julie would not find an easy exit from her prison cell. She had been convicted along with her husband, Todd Chrisley, for financial crimes, bank fraud, tax evasion, and conspiracy to defraud the government. The media had feasted on the details, the scandalous fall of the seemingly perfect family who had built an empire on the foundations of deceit. Their reality show had painted a picture of impeccable family values, wealth, and an enviable lifestyle.